What's happening, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the DECKONVERSATION's podcast. I'm your host, Selector Reno, and first of all, thank you so much for pressing play. Whether you found this podcast randomly, whether you know me from my mixes, events, radio, nightlife, tumekutana club, or social media, I appreciate you for being here from day one. This podcast is all about DJs, entertainment culture, nightlife stories, creativity, struggles, growth, and the real experiences behind those ladies and gentlemen that are always behind the decks. Before I even start bringing guests onto this platform, I feel like the first episode needs to be personal. So today, this episode is simply about who is Selector Reno. And man, where do I even start? My early years is so wide. I began loving music from way back in primary school, if I remember well. And during those times, music was around radio and television for the most part. There was no social media, there was no DSPs. Started early from my uncles introducing me to music, my elder brothers introducing me to reggae music, giving me mixes of Kina Mau Mau sound system, Kina DJ Lastborn. I also used to listen to KBC episodes of the weekly music shows, and getting to know music wide and far wide. So in high school, I was already acquainted to music. I loved Uko Flani, the hip hop era of Kenya. I was introduced to Caliph Records. I was introduced to international hip hop. But majorly, my passion was in reggae music. That is how I started. And the amount of love I had for music, I just knew one way or another I'd be amongst or within the industry of curating music or creativity and all about art from way back in high school. So fast forward, we met a couple of friends, Kina Reno, MC Advice, DJ Okrima. We went to the same high school and decided to form what was now called Empire Sound, which we introduced later once we finished school. So I remember my first time, when you begin DJing, nobody wakes up and suddenly becomes a selector. And for me, music was deeper than just entertainment. So I had interest into knowing more about music. And because I couldn't sing, I could sing, and I sang in choirs in church, in high school, curated choirs, went for festivals, to the nationals and all that, but I couldn't match the storytelling of the artists that I was geared towards and feeling those times. The likes of the Bob Marleys of the day, Tupac, their pen game was just wide and overflowing. So I told myself, okay, you can be an artist because you don't have all that stories. So why not be a DJ and play the music that the artists sing? So I got interested. My dad had an office down in Kisumu, so he had internet connected at the office, so I could go there, get to know more about music, started downloading music. It would take hours and hours to download a couple of music, I remember. And that is just how I got interested. I started burning those music on CDs just within the office when he's not around. I'm sorry he's gonna be knowing this from this podcast episode. So fast forward, finished school, had an agreement with Kina ZJ to start up an entertainment unit, Empire Sound. That's how we got to the commercial side of DJing. But all along during the high school days, we used to be massive and chronic collectors of music. That I won't lie, and they know, all of them know. So too much of my stories, and for me, that's how I got to like music in high school. Then fast forward in campus, I tried DJing Then I had a friend who they used to have gigs in our campus. So whenever we had events, they were the ones outsourced to bring equipment, sound, and all that. I met UG's Entertainment in Eldoret while I was at Moi. I met a guy called Koki, who is a retired DJ, used to be actively then, and he used to give me some small tips here and there, or give me a chance to try the DJing aspect of it. That's how I got to grow into DJing. Basically, I did not go to a DJ school, but I would visit Koki at his place. Then he would just leave me with the machines there. Then I do all my fumbling, try out things that I saw on online, and that's because I had the music idea and music love already in my mind, so I could transition and try exercise with the music that I already had on my CDs collection. I could go there, do practice here and there, go back to class. Then in 2010 or thereabout, we found our first gig at Rafiki's in Langata. That was our first ever gig as Empire Sound. Did it for a couple of years. Then towards 2012, then I get to finish campus because I was on and off. When I'm closed for the semesters, I join my crew and we do the Thursday nights, Rafiki's Reggae Thursdays, with the help of one person I will have to mention, Mr. Cyrus Pino, who was the link to Rafiki's. Big up yourself, Mr. Cyrus. That's how I joined into the culture, started early DJing. During those times, we had the likes of Akina DJ Styles with Code Red Entertainment. We had Doty Family. We had King Lions, Levity. Supremacy Sounds was also rocking the parties then. But we were just beginning as the new kids on the block. There we go. So it was kind of a struggle, but with passion, everything is possible. One thing people don't understand about being a DJ is the beginning is never glamorous. That one I will tell you. Because the struggles that we went through then are only us could tell. And we had to go through those so that the current generation can thrive on our shoulders, you get. So from lack of equipment to now advancing to the new technologies, because when we started with CDs and the people before us had LPs. So moving fast forward from CDs to online music, that is Serato, we first saw it with very few people in the country, the likes of DJ Pinye and DJ Styles. Then we grew curious around how are we gonna acquire this, because I remember when we were launching in a funny story, when we were launching Empire Sound in 2008 December, I remember we did it with ZJNO's mom's desktop, I remember, in the club. And then it's when we had started getting to know how to deal with the digital music and working with it. Of course, we had with the advent of Facebook in that year in Kenya, we had started posting mixes, which we used to make and post on Mixcrate. Imagine making mixes with virtual DJ guys. We tumetoka mbali na nimetoka mbali pia same way. Big up yourself, my crew, Empire Sounds. And from lack of equipment through mistakes like small gigs, paying for little or no money, I remember we used to go through all that. Struggles with transport, late night exhaustions. There were moments I questioned like everything, like, should I do this? I remember at one point I went into making clothes and did a stint there with a couple of friends who we used to thrift with. But then music still came back to my mind, and I kept pushing and I kept pushing and I put in the energy, and that's what got me here. So through the years from 2013, once I was done with campus, I decided now it's time to now focus on the craft, really. Like, sasa ni get to go. Joined my team in Nairobi, did a huge stint from 2013 to 2019, just continuously practicing, continuously acquiring gigs, continuously teaching yourself around the craft, building the brand. That's when now, because I was more during the campus in Eldoret, now moving back to Nairobi was a different scene in the entertainment industry. So I had to rebuild my name back. I started around doing gigs. I started with residencies around town and around the estates in Embakasi and all. Shout out to everybody who used to come to my parties in Embakasi, man. Those were good years. And we also used to do countrywide gigs in Mombasa. We did Eldoret, we did Kakamega, we did Kisumu as a team. And there were nights when in the country we could be all over the counties, you know. So those were good moments, if I remember. So that's how I came to build the name Selector Reno. Basically, Selector Reno, as you may know, some of you, a selector is somebody who knows how to bus music, knows how to curate playlists for the DJ to play. And in most cases, the DJ is trained by a selector. And the selector, out of the love of music, just knows how to play music as a DJ and also to curate playlist based on the crowd and how you read the crowd. So mostly selectors are never stepped in a DJ school, if I'm to say that. So basically, other than the help of having practice sessions with Koki, I never basically joined any DJ school to learn the craft. So mostly was online, find Koki here now and then, of which later on I ended up playing in a couple of gigs at campus, ended up curating the events at campus, brought on board artists to Moi University, the likes of Kina Jua Kali, Meja, couple of artists, Size 8, when she used to be secular. And that is how my journey grew. And now to advance to Nairobi, that's how I became now more of a commercial DJ out here. So basically, this podcast now, for the most part, DJs get to have radio interviews, TV interviews, and they never get to now tell their stories, their struggles, where they came from, what their parents thought around it. Because for me, I will tell you right here that my mom knew I was about music from the get-go, and she also even knew about me being part of the crew, Empire Sound, and all the journey. She's been supportive and there with me all through and through. My dad was a busy guy, so he came to know about me being a DJ later, and because, you know, he was a strict parent, so I used to hide into telling him that, okay, I'm going to do events. Then later on, he realized, okay, these events are not basically events, because in campus I did mass comm and PR. So it was in line with saying, okay, you're going to do events. But later on, he came to realize that I'm an actual DJ. And how did he get to know this? So fast forward around 2017, I'm booked for a gig in Kisumu, and posters are all over town and everywhere. Then he's just around town doing his own normal business. Then he sees my face on the poster and he's like, let me get a call and call this guy. You mean these times when you're coming home to see us, there's an homecoming or what? What is this? I'm seeing your posters all over. Do you want to vie or what is this? Then I had to now open up and tell him, okay, I'm a DJ and I'm having a show in Kisumu and I'll be joining you guys late after the show. That is the first time my dad, since 2008, knew that Reno is just not an events guy and doing events coming in the morning. he is an actual DJ. So from then the conversation moved from, okay, you're no longer hiding this, and I know you DJ, that's okay. So long as you're not doing anything bad during the night, that's fine with me. So basically, throughout the years, I've constantly practiced, constantly put my ear out there for new music. A sucker for a lot of genres. My first love, of course, is reggae and dancehall, but I can play Kenyan music, Nigerian music, piano, old school hip hop, which was a rich genre during the 90s when I was growing up. A lot of DJs have their growth strategies and how they came up to be DJs, and that is why Day Conversations podcast is here for you guys. I know I will be touching base with a lot of my DJ friends here and there, bringing them on board and chopping it up with them so that we get to know, okay, who are you? How did you join the craft? What do you feel about the music industry? What do you find exhausting, or what are the mental burnouts in the industry that you have? They will be discussing industry politics. We'll be discussing, for the most part, about that lady or gentleman behind the decks. Once all the laptops are off, the decks are off, you're on your way home. Who are you? Tell us about yourself. Tell us about where you came from. Tell us about your craft, how you trained, how you got to love music. Why do you do it? We want to know that, and we want to keep them for the record. And possibly online on the DSPs, we shall be there. Of course, you have already put up the social media platforms you can follow, so that you get to know which DJ is being featured on any episode that we'll be having. And I'm only asking for your support, guys. If you love music, if you love nightlife, if you are about any genre of music, if you're about entertainment, if you're about mixes, this is your podcast. And because I've done this as a DJ, I know where the shoes fit, I know where the shoes pinches. So I'm hoping we'll be having a very fruitful ride with this one. It's my new baby coming out, and this is the first episode I'm starting with, and I'm hoping for your support, and I'm hoping for really putting out these stories out there for the people and the next generation to learn from, to get new ideas, to understand where the culture came from. This one is for the culture. So where are we going with all this, you may ask? My vision for this is to bridge the gap between creatives and the fans, and basically focusing on DJs, because artists have always had their episodes and podcasts where they discuss their stories, but this one is for DJs. Instead of just going for an interview on radio or TV, and then you play your mixes and say your social media handles and leave, and the next gig where you're playing, and that's it. We want to know your DJ stories. We're not making any mix, but it's a mix of the culture, your personality, the nightlife, entertainment, business discussions, creative culture in the country and abroad, and building a real community. That's why I want the conversation to become more than just a podcast. Hii ni yenyu wazee, Mr. DJ, Mr. Selector, ule MC. And of course, for the fans, I would love if you want somebody to come on board. You can always share your ideas on the comments. Tell us about what you feel about the stories. If you're part of the stories, tell us your version of the stories. That would be so fruitful for us here. For me, Selector Reno as the host, and the guest that I'll be hosting, the various DJs and entertainment stakeholders, because much as I'll be interviewing most DJs and mostly creatives within the entertainment, DJing, lifestyle and all that, I'm talking MCs, I'm talking the DJs themselves. I'll also love to hear about how other people, the stakeholders, relate to the DJ culture and the entertainment culture as a whole. So once in a while I'll be having hosts, I'll be having club managers, I'll be having entertainment directors of different events and clubs. So let's make this one for the culture, one where we just sit down, chop it up, easy, take your time, and give us the whole story. from the horse's mouth. So basically, that is what the Conversations podcast will be about. We're trying to build a culture where we get to know the stories other than the brand and how the brands are built. Some tips will be very fruitful for the new generation of DJs that are coming out, and how the scenes before, the years before, when we started, when Akina Pinye started, when Akina Papa Charlie started, when Akina, who am I leaving out? DJ Adrian started. Name them, all the DJs you know. We want to know their stories. We want to chop it up here. And let's keep it open and let's keep it hopeful that everybody will be on board. I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of guys, creating a lot of stories for you guys, the fans out there. So stay tuned, and also subscribe to the channel, and make sure you follow us on all DSPs and social media platform. And this will be something you wanna get to know each and every episode one by one. So finally, as I wrap it up, this was just a short episode for highlighting the main points and main issues that I'll be discussing on this podcast. Make sure you follow the podcast on your favorite DSPs. Share this episode. Stay tuned for future conversations. This is Selector Reno, and this platform is for the culture, for the DJs, for the creatives, for the people building something from nothing. Just stay consistent, stay authentic, and keep the passion alive. Peace.